What's up, everybody? Josh, Clearing Waivers podcast here with you again for another week. Finally got some sports to talk about. We're going to get into a little bit of actual sports topics this week instead of just giving you some usual shenanigans. So looking forward to what we've got in store for you tonight. But before we do that, let's get around to the horn to the host here. Rance, how was your week?
Good. It's going real good. We're getting ready to go to the lake on Thursday for a few days over the 4th. Me and my brother played in a 27-hole golf tournament on Sunday, so had a lot of fun doing that. It's going good. Shingles are nice and cleared up, so
Good deal.
I'm doing a lot better than what I've been doing. So
it would be hard to golf 27 holes with one eye.
Yeah, I played in that golf tournament over Father's Day, and it was difficult. Sweating into your eye that's already jacked up, and yeah, it wasn't great.
I bet that's true. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better for you. Kitty, how was your weekend, man? Or week, I guess.
Pretty much the same for me. Just did a little golf on the weekend as well, and then gave myself a brand new haircut this afternoon. So just trying to get a little tight on the sides here, let flow on top a little bit. I have the little hair I have left that's hanging on for dear life. So
sure.
Feeling good.
You got that guard set to like whatever you use on your beard and just like scoop it
actually, it's the same. It is the same length of
beard
and hair on the side.
I could grow my facial hair for 7 years and it would not be as lush as yours. So that's from a purely jealous standpoint.
Right. I got made fun of by my niece and nephew for having too much gray in my beard though a couple weeks ago. So
salt and pepper, just like Rance's buddy George Clooney.
That's right.
I got plenty of salt in there too.
Yep. It's going to happen to all of us. Also joining us for the week again is Brian. Brian, how was your week?
It's good. We've reached that time of year where I just try to stay in the air conditioning as much as possible. Minimal on golf, minimal on going outside. Stay inside where it's nice and cold.
If you do go outside, you have to have some kind of water feature.
Yeah, exactly. I have a feeling we're going to put up our trashy pool again, blow up the pool this weekend, and try to stay wet.
Now's the time to do it, because if you got an extended weekend with the 4th being on a Friday or on a Saturday, it's probably a pretty good weekend to get a little bit extra use out of it.
Heck yeah.
Yep. Well, good deal. I've had better weekends. I had a little head cold that just absolutely wiped me off my feet. You probably hear it in my voice a little bit more, a little bit in my nose, but feeling a lot better. It's not COVID. So
oh, fuck.
Just stop.
Better go
right
get
there.
A quick test, bud. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is how it starts.
It was a wet cough. There was plenty of nastiness coming out. So I was COVID negative, did my own test, I stuck a Q-tip up my nose and up my bottom. So we're all good. No COVID for me, but didn't keep me from having a head cold, which always wipes me out. So feeling a lot better now, ready to roll for the evening. The good thing about the weekend was we put on a little DraftKings DFS with a tournament, the Clearing Waivers tournament to coincide with this Travelers Championship PGA Tour event. And I can't. Who won that? I can't. Really
I stopped watching.
remember.
I stopped watching after my best guy got kicked off the tournament on Friday.
I mean our tournament. Who won our tournament?
Right. I stopped paying attention. Told you. I knew I was not going to win.
Do you guys know?
Someone else might know.
Yeah. I think I know.
Who was it?
I think it was you.
It was me. You're right. It was me. I was gonna. I have no knowledge of golf, so suck it, number one. Number two, I wanted to probably my two big picks were Brendan Steele, just because, I mean, how do you not go with somebody named Brendan Steele?
Unbelievable.
The other one was Schauffele. Is that his name?
Xander Schauffele.
Come on,
Jesus
Josh.
Christ.
So Schauffele reminded me of Schlafly, which reminded me of Schlansky. So that's why I had Schauffele or whatever his stupid name is. But it doesn't matter because I know golf way better than you assholes. It was a glorious weekend in that part.
I was looking at your score on that because I was in a $20 game again, which I came up short again. But like with your score, if you would have gotten that game, you would have won like 120, 140 bucks. But I mean, wow. You had a hell of a score. I mean, it wasn't even close.
That's how it always goes. I've never, ever done – this is my first ever DraftKings anything. So I think there's a little magic dust whenever somebody does that the gambling gods are very privy to. And they're like, oh, this guy's green. Let's suck him in with a win real quick. Yeah. So I guarantee you – I mean, Brian's had the same thing go on the first time he did it. He had a really big weekend, and then he was hooked for the rest of eternity.
Oh, it's addicting.
And then you just lose.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's so much fun watching the scoreboard move around while you're got your phone out, watching the golf on TV. You see the.
That's the fun part about it is you get something to follow. Like it takes up your time. That's why I mean.
Yep.
Of course, it'd be nice to win a little bit of money.
I watched on Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't ever watch golf unless it's like the match, and I watched this last Sunday just because I had money on it.
For $27, see, that's all it takes to get you hooked.
Yep. So what we're gonna do is we've opened up another tournament with the PGA Tour event coming up this weekend. Brian, what do you're the one setting this up, so I'll let you give the details.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. We'll post it to all our social media sites, and any of you guys want to join our group. Interact with us, play against us. It really is as simple as Josh showed us this week. Someone knows nothing about golf, so don't be intimidated by it. Don't be intimidated by this website itself, because it's as simple as you've got a $50,000 budget to spend on 6 golfers. So you just go in there and pick some names, use your budget, and then enter the tournament, and it'll pay out the top 3 teams again. And it's just fun to go back and forth and talk shit all week.
$10 buy-in.
$10 buy-in again.
It does start bright and early Thursday morning, so this is going to be released on Wednesday, so don't waste any time getting your lineup in and getting entered in the contest. But it's super simple. It's even simpler if you've got a PayPal account, because you can just PayPal that to DraftKings, whatever you want to buy in for. And with just $10 entry we're playing, and the pots will depend on how many people we get in the tournament, obviously. But the more the merrier. I'll gladly lose my money to more of the listeners, and to Josh again if we have to.
I was going to say, it's not necessarily the listeners that are going to lose.
I don't really want to lose to Josh again.
I mean, I'm gonna have a whole other lineup, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of their names either, just to piss you guys off. It's going to be glorious. So yeah, check out all of our social medias. We'll have all the details there, the links to jump in. I think it is like a $25 minimum to get into DraftKings. So that just, I mean. You'll be able to get into 2.5 of our tournaments then. So it'll be a good time. But yeah, if you got a little bit of fantasy sports itch, it's a really good way to scratch that. Like I said, I kind of felt that rush going into a Sunday, like any kind of fantasy football Sunday. I was like, I need to be in front of the TV by the time this thing starts. So it was fun to actually have a little skin in the game and get going. So speaking of getting going, let's get going on this week. Like we said, we got some sports to talk about. The MLB is back. Yay! We'll have a little bit of the talk about that. We'll talk about the Royals specifically a little bit. They announced their 60-man roster. And then speaking of gambling, we found some of their futures odds and some of their fun bets there. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. The other big news coming out of the weekend is Cam Newton signing with the New England Patriots. So we'll take a little bit of a look at how that's actually going to pan out, or what we kind of think about that signing. And then we'll get into the regular shenanigans. So let's jump into it. The MLB is back, baby. We'll actually be able to get basketball and baseball into the same week, more or less. They'll both start about the last week of July, it sounds like. And then football will be right behind them after a week or a month or two. So that'll be very interesting. But MLB is coming back with 60-game season as opposed to the 162 game that they're usually doing. They'll actually start, I believe, workouts this Friday. I think everybody's kind of coming together in all their home cities. Their summer camps. Yeah, summer camp, sleepaway camp in Kauffman Stadium. I think a lot of the players are actually already in town for which is kind of cool. But we'll start seeing some of them. I think they get 3 exhibition games here in this summer camp if you can organize it with people that are geographically close to you. But so they have 60 games scheduled. They'll have 40 games with their usual division opponents, 20 games with their geographic National League opponents. So the Royals will get all 4 or 5 teams in the NL Central this year. We'll have a nice little Cardinals rivalry going again. We get to see that. Players are going to receive full prorated salaries, which I think has come out to like 33, maybe 37% of their usual salaries they'll get from it. Usual playoff structure is going to be at the end of the season. Instead of, they were talking about expanding it potentially. Going to have the universal DH. The extra inning games are going to be using the minor league rules. So every inning will start off with a runner on second, which is interesting. Very polarizing change on that one. But basically, they're going to open up the season with a 30-man roster. They'll cut that down to 28 after 2 weeks, and then 26 about a month into the season. So they'll have another, what they call a taxi squad of about 20 to 30 players that will follow. I guess they're following them around. Every city they go to, they're going to follow them around, hence the taxi moniker.
I don't think all of them do. I think I saw something like that 3 or 4 people actually travel with the team that aren't on
that. Would make
roster.
Way more sense because, I mean, if you're going to expose most of your minor leagues to, or most of your team to some kind of germs, you want to have somebody that's outside of that system that could jump into it. But
I think I saw three players.
Okay. So that's basically just like a built-in thing for any kind of COVID cases that might pop up or just regular injuries. You always want to keep somebody fresh and warm, ready to take their spot. But I did see earlier tonight they did announce that there are 0 minor league games. So a lot of the top prospects for each team is going to be on these 60-man rosters that they've announced. And I think most of the top prospects for the Royals are going to be on this taxi squad. Bobby Witt, all the core 4 outside of Asa Lacy is going to be in there. But we're going to get some baseball here after a little bit, a few weeks of summer camp, sleepaway camp. But I guess, Brian, let's start with you. Where are you at on just starting this seasoning, and are you excited for this? Are you excited for the new things? Or are you just ready to see some live action?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think if you're in these teams like the Royals, where you came into this year not really expecting to compete at all, your window just got a lot bigger with having the shorter schedule. And we've seen Royals teams in the past that weren't very good have a couple of good months and win a lot of games that more than we thought. So I think it's exciting for the fans to play this shortened season. And what I want to see the Royals actually do is approach this, push all their chips in that right now. I mean, you got this chance to make a move when you probably shouldn't have. And we're right on the cusp of seeing these young guys we've been waiting for the past couple of years to kind of come into this window. The window of competition we thought was still maybe another couple of years away. But these guys are pretty much here now. With these expanded rosters, we can really see what we've got at the highest stage. And what I would love to see them do is take almost the first few weeks, take almost a spring training approach with this pitching staff. And I would pair up guys. I would pair up guys like Duffy and Singer, Keller and Lynch, Junis Bubic, Montgomery Kowar, Lopez, maybe Foster Griffin for that 5th spot if you needed it. But I would have those guys pair up. They're going to go every 5 days like usual. But I'm going to limit them to 2 times through the order or 3 innings pitched, whichever one comes quicker, because we've seen that there's a competitive advantage to not having a guy that's not a real ace get exposed when he goes through that 3rd time or 4th time through the order. They start figuring out that pitcher. So if you've got all these arms and none of them are really aces, I think we could use it to our advantage. We're not pressured to use an ace. We're not asking them to go 7 innings. I don't think we need to. There's no reason to have a bunch of extra position players because we have expanded rosters. I would use almost all the extra spots for pitching, and I would just throw those pitchers out there just constantly. I wouldn't have anybody stay out there and get exposed. And we're on the short window, too, where their arms aren't going to be built up. So I think it's kind of going to be natural for them to be out there for a shorter time than they usually would at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, I kind of want to just take a crazy approach and not just have 1 or 2 spots in the rotation be bullpen, quote-unquote, starter, what do they call it, openers that we've seen like the Rays and everybody use. Yeah. I would use that approach across the board for our pitching staff.
Yeah. Yep.
And we've got some flamethrowers. We don't know if they can get guys out yet, but there's guys at the end of the bullpen that if you can get it to them, they're going to look much different than the guys that started the game. So if you can pair up those buddy pitchers to start, and they're going 3 innings, and then you got have your flamethrowers close out a game. I think they could be competitive doing it with that approach.
I mean, like you said, why not? At this point, I mean, it's kind of a weird season anyway, so why not throw something at the wall, see what sticks? And I mean, you're not going to push those young arms. The only kind of asterisk or question I would have is if what's the service time looking like? I think I saw something to where if you hold somebody back for 7 days, so the season starts on like the 27th, I think, something like that. And if you hold them out for like 7 days, you get an extra year of service time for them, which at that point is like, why the hell not? If any of these guys are even close to ready, I love that idea. We've talked about that a few times is the pitcher by committee and just use that for your whole rotation. But if your pitching staff is 15 guys deep, no time like the present. That's a great idea.
And I think it also gives you the chance to find out early in the first few months if a guy like Kowar or Singer or whatever is really ready for this level.
Yep.
And you're not exposing them big time. But also if they the first few weeks, if they're dominating the pitching and like Jacob Junis, for instance, or Mike Montgomery is not doing all that great, you can kind of make that adjustment going forward when they start trimming down the rosters to where you can move Junis to the bullpen or get rid of some guys that just aren't getting it done, and you can put these guys in the spotlight that if they're ready for it.
The other kind of caveat to that, I would say, is you did mention that you wouldn't necessarily need to have more position players on the roster. It's a 60-game schedule, and I believe they have 63 days to get it in. So there's not going to be that many off days built in. So they are going to have to need, and with Jorge Soler probably taking up a lot of the DH games, I would probably say that they will need at least 1 or 2 extra guys for both the infield and the outfield than they usually have, just to give guys off days. But at the same time, yeah, I'm all for that idea. What about you, Kitty? Where are you at on this season starting?
I'm excited for it. Just hoping it happens. Don't want anything to come up in this next 23 days that derails the whole operation with maybe one team just has a real nasty outbreak and they don't have enough players to even field the team and come in 23 days. So I'm just really hoping it happens. And I love this man on second base to start extra innings. More purists just trying to abandon the game that they've loved so long. Oh, how can they do this to my beloved baseball?
It's an abomination.
Mockery.
You've got 60 games. We don't need to be spending, when a real short schedule, you don't need to be spending any extra days. Another 18-inning affair between 2 trash bag teams. Like, no one needs it. No one wants it.
Yep.
No one cares. No one's in the stands. So it's really, even more so, you'd rather just get these games over with as quick as possible at the end if they're tied. So I'm a big fan of that idea. I mean, as we talked about it before a little bit, we're just going to see some sack bunts here, then hopefully that next guy gets them in. And then all of a sudden, top of the visiting team, tries to sack bunt, and then the guy pops out, and then a strikeout or something. They don't get the run, and then the home team just gets a huge advantage already.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how that works out, how that plays out come the season starts.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of college football overtime rules.
It's a little bit like that, yeah. Because
I like that. I mean,
if the first team gets 1 run, if the visiting team scores once, you need 1 to tie.
Yep.
So you're probably going to do that sack bunt too.
Yep.
Or if they don't score, even more likely to sack bunt.
I mean, if you hold the first team in college football from getting any points, you could kneel, kick a field goal for the win.
Yeah,
Right.
So, pretty much.
I mean, why not? I'm into it. Rance, where are you at on the startup here?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like, I think this should breed some new, life into the Royals, knowing that they're going to, I'm sure guys are excited to get the season started, but, they don't have a lot of, when it comes July and the Royals are 20 games under 500, they probably not feeling real great about themselves. But now 60 games, Brian talked about 2 months. Well, hell, all you need is 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks of being hot, and you're right in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and if they can come out of the gates and start off, 12-5 or, 10-4 or something like that, I mean, you got to feel pretty good. I mean, about a shot being able to be in there. I like the idea of what Brian was talking about, the pitching. mean, the problem I always had with old Ned was I felt like he always left guys in there way too long, or a batter or two too long, and then a blow up, and then they're out of the game, you know. And I don't know Matheny's approach, but I mean, why not? I mean, get those arms out there. I mean, you got 60 games. I mean, you're not looking to really conserve a lot of guys, I wouldn't think, at that point. As far as, I mean, just use them.
Yep.
You know, 60 games. And like Kitty was saying, I was excited about hearing about the extra inning rule. I mean, I was listening on the radio. The Royals, they played 16 extra inning games last year, which, I mean, I know they're not going to do that in a 60-game span, but, you know, you play 5 or 6 of those games with the new rules, and, you know, you have a chance to swing things in your favor, I think, a little bit more maybe with the new rules, if you can just, you know, be able to get them out and, you know, put a little pressure on them. And so that'll be fun to see something different, honestly, in my opinion.
For sure.
So
yep.
I'm excited about kind of seeing how that goes.
Yeah.
A little added pressure. So,
I mean, extra innings is kind of tense as it is, but when you start an extra inning with a guy on second base, I mean, that's edge of your seat type shit.
I mean, yeah.
Tension's already there. Built-in tension. Built-in drama.
Better have the bullpen guys that can come in with men on base, and nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those guys that just kills them when they come in with a bad situation on the base pass. They just can't do it.
Yep.
So
I just hope they play, because I know there's some guys already dropping out. So like
Ian
Kitty
Desmond's
said,
already
I mean,
opted out.
Zimmerman, Mike Leake, and I mean, we're still 20-some days out, so that makes me
Oh,
just
I didn't hear.
bit
That's
nervous.
Ryan Zimmerman. Is that Ryan Zimmerman?
Ryan Zimmerman from the Nationals.
Yep. Interesting. I hadn't heard him. I heard the other two. Interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, and like Kitty was talking about, kind of hinted at, it's only going to take one team to get a really bad outbreak that's going to shut everything down. I think it'll be. I mean, the NBA kind of had the same thing go on with the Rudy Gobert stuff and Utah Jazz outbreak, and then everything overnight was done. So it feels like it could totally turn into that if it kind of gets bad. But at the same time, I mean, I think that's why they gave them 60 guys, because the show must go on type of thing, which it kind of puts a weird.
That would be a team gets it and they have your 10 top players get 14-day quarantine.
Yep.
So what? This is not good for these guys, kind of thing.
I mean, that's another reason that we need to go for it, because there may be a team ahead of us, you know, first, second in the standings or whatever. A team could get an outbreak and they're fucked, and
dudes,
we're in the playoffs now. You know, I mean, that could be us getting infected, but you don't know what's going to happen. So this is a year to really go for it. And I mean, if you've been wanting to try some crazy shit, let's get it going. This is the year to do it.
Josh, I was going to ask you real quick, like, you know, Royals with players traveling and MLB players, a lot of Dominican players. Have you heard anything about, I mean, because when they come back to the States, or even if they've left the States, they have to quarantine themselves for 14 days, correct?
I think that's correct, yeah.
But I just didn't know if you'd heard anything or saw anything where I mean, maybe some of them haven't even left to go back knowing that there was a chance to play. Or
there was some player, not a Royals player, that was stuck. He was stuck at home because he couldn't get back in the country. He was in a country that was not allowed to come back in yet, or he just chose to stay back for maybe he opted out too. I think he was just a minor league prospect, I believe. Can't think of it. It wasn't a Royals player.
How that might come into play for not only the Royals, but, you know, the MLB as a whole. So,
and I think that's certainly a concern. I do think that a lot of those organizations probably encourage their guys to stick around. I know if you were probably in spring training, a lot of the facilities stayed open in Surprise and in Arizona. So I think like guys like Nick Heath and Marlon Willis and a lot of those guys stuck around via their Instagram. I've been stalking their Instagram a little bit, but so I know that they've kind of kept as many guys as they could keep around facilities to work out under team supervision. I'm sure that they probably had as much of that as they could. Guys like Gordo and Witt and all those guys probably closer to back to Kansas City with his families during this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's a touch and go situation on all these dudes, and it's certainly going to be. I mean, by the time they have to actually start getting into camp is about a week or two. So that's probably the quarantine built in as well. So,
well, like watching Nick's Instagram story, it looked like he got tested, but the Royals weren't allowing him like even get on the field for 2 days until they got the results back or whatever. So I don't know that, coming into Kansas City or coming into the facilities, they'd have necessarily quarantine no matter where they came from, but they would certainly have to get a test and get cleared that way.
These players are going to get tested left and right. I mean, and that's good.
I'd say most of them already have.
And, they're going to get it constantly is what I mean.
Expectation of starting camp on Friday, they got to be cleared before that can start.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to kind of see how that all plays out. There's probably going to be more people, no more players opting out. There are probably people still on the fence about it, but we'll kind of monitor that situation to see how it goes. Seems like most of the Royals guys are ready to go and jumping in as quickly as they can. Maybe they got a little bit of sense of urgency as well. Maybe they do. But let's get into the Royals 60-man roster was announced. Not a whole lot of surprises in there. I guess we can kind of throw it to you guys if there was any kind of big surprises or omissions that you kind of saw.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of surprising to see a couple of the prospects that us fans have kind of given up on, quote unquote, when seeing Nick Prado and Sully Matias on there, because they don't look like they're anywhere close to being major league ready. While they're highly thought of prospects, and a lot of the scouting sources out there have kind of given up on them or written them off as far as they just haven't shown the results that they need to be major league contributors. So that kind of tells me that the Royals still have faith in those guys. And I guess it wasn't that much of a surprise to see them carry Bobby Witt Jr. on there, even though there's almost 0% chance he's going to play. They want to really be hands-on with his, sculpting his swing and all that good stuff to be hands-on with that approach. And I was kind of upset to not see Asa Lacy on there. Kind of talked about that with Josh. I was looking forward to having him on there as just maybe an option if we get crazy and we're a month in and these guys are actually playing well and they just need another arm to take it to another level. I mean, the way they talk about this guy is he's got 4 high-notch pitches. Yep. And to me, in my dumb brain, pitching's a little different than hitting as far as developing. I think hitters need a lot of ABs in the minor leagues to see how approaches are going to change and all that towards them. But when you're the pitcher, you're the one attacking the hitter. And if you've got elite stuff, I feel like that can play immediately if it is truly elite.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to see him just so they could be with him and develop him hands-on, but also have it in the back pocket that we can throw this little wild card at you here in the second half if for some reason we're actually competing.
The only kind of, I guess, I was with you. It was kind of a surprise that they didn't even bring him in, but it also kind of makes sense because they do have a lot of guys that they need to figure out what they have in them, like Zimmer, Stomont, Rosenthal, Chance Adams is in that group. And then you have other guys like Foster Griffin, Randy, that's right. Eddie Rosario is another player. Gabe Spire, and then Stephen Woods Jr. I mean, all those dudes, that's just 7 guys outside of the guys that are definitely going to be there, the Ian Kennedys, the Greg Hollands, all those guys. So I think they're going to have a plethora of arms. And I mean, that would be the only kind of, I guess, opposition to wanting Asa Lacy on the roster. But at the same time, I was telling you guys, I did watch that 2014 wild card game over the weekend, and they brought Brandon Finnegan in, and he just pitched lights out when they absolutely needed it. So I got a little bit of antsy wanting to see that on Asa Lacy this year. But I guess the first caveat to really be like, why not, is the Royals have to be actually in it by the time that crunch time kind of hits. But, yeah, those are basically the same guys, the Nick Prados, the Sully Matias is the big ones, Bobby Witt, just to get all those guys reps. But like Brian said, it kind of just speaks to me as like that's what the organization kind of thinks of them still. So,
yeah.
Rance, did you guys have anybody else?
I saw something that Dayton Moore had mentioned that the reason they're bringing those guys up, like the Bobby Witt, he's basically, Dayton Moore said he's not ready. We know that, but we also don't have a minor league season this year, so we want to get these guys as much practice as they can get. Spring training, this little mini spring training position they've got now, just to get these guys in the system, actually, and then also learn from some of the veterans too in these situations where you had to take care of yourself day in, day out to be ready to play every day. So
that's not nothing. The approach to that stuff with vets, like if you put Bobby Witt in the same clubhouse as Alex Gordon in a consistent time, he's going to pick up things that he wouldn't pick up for another 2 or 3 seasons.
Right. Yeah. So it's just kind of somebody's just if not so much development of their actual physical tools, but it's more the mental game at this point too.
Yep. I like it. And I mean, who knows? I mean, part of me wants to say that, it can't hurt anything to bring those guys in, but I don't know what it takes to develop major league players. So,
I mean, even if Brian was talking about if you're in it, but what if you're not? I mean, what if you're 15 and 25 and you got 20 games left? Hell, why not let Asa Lacy get in there and get some innings? I mean, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With, like you're saying, not having the minor league season, you're 10 games under 500, let's say, with 20 games left, get in there and get that guy some innings and just see, just get a glimpse of what he could possibly do.
And I think you can get that with guys like Bubic and Kowar and Lynch. And I think we need to see they probably deserve a little bit of those innings more so than Asa Lacy at this point.
I agree with that. And I think that's a big reason why Asa Lacy wasn't added to this. If we didn't have this, basically core 4 guys that are right on the cusp of being ready, and we still haven't seen if they are ready. We've got guys that are playing this role that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And they're more advanced than Asa Lacy as we know it. So I think there's a lot to that as far as if we didn't have those 4 guys that are ready, maybe you do force in your high first round draft pick this year and rush him along more than you would usually.
Yep. And I mean, kind of going into that, Brian, you've kind of likened the 60-game season to March Madness. So I kind of wanted to – March Madness is like gambler's paradise. So I kind of wanted to kind of bring up the big Royals bets that are out there you can put money on right now. I've seen a couple Twitter personalities kind of talking about this already, but the Royals are currently plus 50,000 to win the World Series, which is – third worst. There are less favorites than plus 50,000, which is hilarious to me. They are plus 6,500 to win the AL Central. Their over/under wins for the year 60-game season is 23.5. Alberto Mondesi is the only current Royal that has AL MVP odds at plus 15,000. He's also the favorite to lead the league in steals. And then the final one that I kind of brought up was Jorge Soler is plus 3,300 to lead the majors in home runs. So I wanted to kind of get you guys' thoughts, if you guys have any ideas of what you would put money on, what's got your blood flowing a little bit, and where would you put your money? So Rance, I'll start with you a little. What do you got on this lineup here?
You said the Royal over/under was what, 23.5? Is that what you said?
Yep.
I mean, I would bet some money on that on the over. I mean, they can still go 25 and what?
25 and
35 or 24 and 36.
At 24
and 36 is terrible. And, I mean, still win that bet. I mean, and I wouldn't have any problem putting any money down on Soler after what I seen him do last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
I mean, I think that's a possibility, but I mean, the Royals could still be 12 games under 500, and you could still win that bet. So if I had to choose, I would probably pick the Royals over 23.5.
And then maybe sprinkle that Soler plus 3,300.
And just a little sprinkle of Soler in there for the Major League lead. Yeah.
I like that. Kitty, what are you thinking here?
I'll just throw $1 on to win 500 for that World Series.
Why not?
I've wasted dollars way worse ways than that, so I don't see any reason not to give that a small go if the casino will take your $1 bet.
That's a sprinkle, all right.
New casinos take $1 bet.
A single sprinkle.
Can I bring them 2 rolls of pennies to get my Royals dollar bet in on the World Series champ?
Go up to Caesar's Palace. Boom, there's $1, bitch. I'm betting on the Royals to win the World Series.
That's the most Royals World Series bet of all time. A roll of pennies.
Oh, that's great.
I like that.
So, yeah, I feel like those are the kind of it's just for shits and grins at that point. But as far as the other ones that I was looking at, I had same as Rance, had the over circled. I mean, I just like you said, 24-36 is a bad year.
Yep.
So, I mean, a 40 win percentage over the whole season. I mean, you're winning what, like 65 games, 66. I mean, it seems very doable. Even
I mean, they only won 59 last year. Was it more than that?
No, it was pretty bad.
I can't remember. It was 59 the year before. I don't think they lost 100 games last year, but yeah, it's tough to do.
Right.
Brian, where's your head at?
I like all those bets you guys mentioned. I think where I'd put my money is on Mondesi stolen bases. I mean, he had a ton last year. I just looked it up. He only played 102 games last year, and he was 3 behind the AL leader.
Yep.
So
wow.
He's really battling himself as far as injury goes. If he has a full season, he's going to swipe 65 bags probably. So I think that's going to put him in a pretty good spot. Or not – okay, that's in a regular year. Not in 60 games.
65 bags in 60 games? Holy shit.
Let's scale that, whatever that scale is.
30 bags? 35?
Yeah. I mean, 20 to 25, even 25 could lead the league.
Yeah.
60.
And we know he isn't shy.
He might be the main benefactor of it being a 60-game season. I know it's going to be in a very aggressive timeline, but the fact that it's 60 games, he should be able to stay healthy for 60 games, I would think.
You knock on wood, you son of a bitch.
You find it. Got it. Nailed it.
God.
Yeah, that seems like the easiest money. He's been second in stolen bases in 2019, like Brian said. I mean, if he's in the money at the stolen base leader, if he's hitting 270 with maybe 13 jacks, why not sprinkle that AL MVP at plus 15,000? I mean, he's got to be in the conversation at that point. If he's leading the league in stolen bases, probably got some runs in there.
Probably.
Why not?
World Series too. I mean, perfect. What a sweet quote.
Bet $1 on each, and you'd be a rich man.
Well, to kind of speak to your guys' over-under on 23.5 is they're going to have 10 games against Detroit and 5 games against Pittsburgh. Both of those teams are expected to – they have worse odds to win the World Series than the Royals. So if they go 9-6 against those guys, they only need to go 15-30 against the rest of them. So right. I think, I mean, why not? They could definitely get to
hammer that over.
Hammer the over on that.
You gotta like. I mean, you gotta like their schedule as far as like if you look through the rest of the major leagues. I mean, you look what the Royals who they're going to play, and you got to think, well, they may. I don't know. I always think this, but God, they may have a chance.
It's just why not? It's just the why not thing.
They're going to. I mean, Chicago's going to be better, but they're not going to be great. I mean, Cleveland. Hell, I thought they'd damn near given up after last year, getting rid of everybody, damn near everybody.
They only lost Kluber, right?
As good. Huh?
They only lost Kluber.
Well, Kluber, but
Bauer out.
But Bauer's gone too. Well, that's 2 pretty good arms to me.
Yeah. I mean, sure, Kluber. I would say Kluber is. I'm not sold on Bauer being as good as everybody thinks he is.
He had that one really good year too.
But he's got to be better. I mean, is he not better than some of their alternatives? Maybe he's not. I don't know.
Bauer probably enters the Royals rotation as probably the ace for sure.
Okay.
But that's not saying a whole lot.
The other part remains.
Cleveland's not going to be as good as they've been.
Yeah.
I don't.
Right. And the Twins are expected to be good because they were good last year. But, I mean, I don't know how many people actually believe that they're going to repeat that. Yep. I mean, they won 100 and some games last year. I don't see them being that good this year, but it just seemed kind of fluky. But I'm sure plenty of people thought the 2014 Royals were fluky too. So,
yeah, it's tough to say a team is fluky when they set the most home runs in a season record.
Yeah,
juice ball, whatever you want to say about it. Speaking of juice ball,
I'm gonna go with juice bats.
The other juicy bet here is that Jorge Soler, like Rance was saying, the plus 3,300. To lead the league in majors. Against the AL and NL Central in 2019, he had 335 plate appearances. He had a 1045 OPS with a 643 or a 653 slug against those opponents. And that's all he's playing this year. So if he's able to duplicate what he did last year, I mean, that 653 slug is just behind Christian Yelich last year. He could 100% lead the league in home runs. Easily.
Tee off.
Yeah. I'm very excited. His spring training numbers were very bad. So hopefully that's not an indication of what's to come. But Jorge Soler, we believe in you as a podcast. We love you. Go win us $3,300, please.
That's right.
Let's move on. We've got plenty of Royals talk there. Let's move on to a little bit of NFL news. It doesn't have a lot to do with the Chiefs, but it kind of does at the same time. Cam Newton signed with the New England Patriots. The Patriots announced it on Sunday night right before they announced their punishment for the Spygate 2.0 Volume 2.
It's good times.
So what a coincidence.
Yeah, it's a super coincidence there. Cam Newton signed. I think I keep seeing that he's guaranteed 1.5.
Something like that, yeah.
With a lot of incentives there to hit. I think the most he can make is $7.5 million. I think everybody kind of presumes that he'll be the starter, but I mean, I kind of think that Stidham and Hoyer could still push him. I think it's still probably an open – you're not giving the starter of your team, the guaranteed starter, $1.5 million. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. But I think everybody's presuming that he is going to be the starter for the New England Patriots this year. So I was going to kind of throw it around you guys to see what this does to the New England Patriots in the AFC power rankings. Kitty, I'm going to start with you. Where do you think they are at this point?
I mean, they were at – what was their – it was over under nine wins without him.
Without him, I thought it was 8.
I think it went from 8.5 to 9.
That's what I think too.
I think I saw.
Yeah, so I mean, they're obviously quite a bit worse without Tom Brady back there. And you still got
in a slightly harder schedule.
Right. Baltimore and the Chiefs are still 1-2, I think, in everyone's eyes for the AFC. Then it kind of an open crapshoot after that because Steelers are usually up there, but now with Big Ben coming back, are they going to be able to jump back to where they have been of late? Is Tennessee can Tannehill have the same season he had last year? I say no.
It seems to be,
right. So I put Patriots probably anywhere between that 5 to 9 in the AFC at this point. I would put them. I mean, because Joe Burrow's taking the Bengals to probably 2 or 3 or 4 seed.
I mean, I think we all expect that.
You already lost one spot there.
Yep.
So the funny thing, I was actually looking at Cam's starts per year, and aside from last year, he started at least 14 games every year.
Yep.
So maybe I think they probably pushed him last year. He pushed himself too much in the preseason, kind of re-injured himself, and then didn't ever have it for those 2 games. I thought he got hurt in the preseason and shut it down, then started the first 2, and then couldn't go anymore. So
which
maybe he's healthier now, just having that long layoff without playing. But
I feel like I saw a lot of games where he started, but he was clearly like running like 70%. And I mean, running is probably not the right word. He was limping at 70%. Right. He
was definitely not moving as fast as he used to.
Yeah.
I figure I'd say they're better off with Cam starting than Hoyer or Stidham at this point. Still,
I'd say that's fair. Brian, where's your head at this?
I mean, I'm all over the place because I watch the talking heads on ESPN, and a lot of them want to act like they're getting the MVP guy that we saw from 4 or 5 years ago. Yep. And I mean, the last we saw him, he looked washed.
Yes.
And I think everybody accepted the fact that he's been banged up his whole career, and his shoulder was screwed, his foot was screwed, and that may be a huge reason why he looked so bad throwing the ball. And I think at the end of his Carolina career, I think they kind of neutered him a little bit because they didn't want him to run. And the reason he was so great was he was such a threat in the run game. I mean, the guy's a monster runner.
He's a specimen.
He's Travis Kelce at quarterback.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when that guy pulls it down and starts running, you better get out of the way because he'll run your ass over. And I think with him being on such a cheap deal, they're not invested long term. I think you see them bring that back, the running aspect of it. I think you see the Patriots kind of go all in with kind of a run first, play defense, play dominant defense, because they had a dominant defense last year, and they by no means asked Tom Brady to throw it 45 times a game. I think they just invest more in that running threat. You're going to see a lot of the usual James White leaking out of the backfield to the running backs. You're going to see the Julian Edelman 7-yard routes where they just kind of pick up little pieces at a time and try to put a drive together. I don't think they're going to ask him to throw those 15 to 25-yard passes where he was kind of showing some age or a body breakdown in his final years at Carolina. So I think it's all about the approach with their offense going forward, and I think they're going to be pretty conservative. Maybe not conservative with him because they're going to put him at risk by, I think, running him a lot more than Carolina was. But if he can stay healthy and doing that approach, I think they can be a very good team and a real threat in the AFC. I have them at – I think you've got to presume them to be the number 3 threat in the AFC right now. There's a lot of teams like Kitty kind of covered. But when I look at teams and I say who still scares me, even if they've got a Cam that not real accurate down the deep on deep balls, and they're just going to run the ball and play dominant defense, they're a team that scares me because that potential is still there of Cam healthy after a year off. Maybe he shows a little bit of youth and brings back that old game a little bit. You see flashes of when he was so special to watch and so fun to watch. So I think they're a scary team, but I don't think we can really say anything definitively at this point.
Yep. That's the benefit of having Bill Belichick and the Patriots kind of reputation is that they're always going to be scary. I mean, you were probably still had your ears perked up a little bit with Jarrett Stidham still behind center. So I'm fully in on the Patriots bringing back triple option. I'm very in on that idea, and I'm very in on them giving the ball to Damian Harris. I mean, no other reason than not that I own him in fantasy or anything, but I just want to see it.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Tim Tebow's first year in Denver, Josh McDaniels was the head coach at that time. Yeah. So you may see a lot of those same types of offense being run.
That's interesting
this year.
Yep. Rance, where are you at on this?
I mean, there's nothing to lose for them. I mean, honestly, I hate the Patriots, but I think it's a great signing because you're signing him for cheap. And if you can even get a little bit of what he was, then I think you're going to be competitive. I mean, I think they could be 3. They're somewhere around 4. I still think the Texans will be okay. I mean, I know they lost Hopkins, but I still think you got Deshaun Watson. You're going to be competitive. I think the Colts could be in that conversation if Phillip Rivers can just not be Phillip Rivers and just, not lose some games because that defense is pretty good. And he's going to have a lot of weapons again. The offensive line is one of the best in the league. I think they're going to be pretty good. But, I mean, I'm really interested. I mean, even if Cam can throw the ball down the field at all, because they never do anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, if he can even get a couple big plays a game, I mean, that's going to pay off big dividends for them because Brady's not chucking the ball down the field.
Right.
I mean.
That's the funny thing about it. Like, everybody's quick to anoint. I saw a few talking heads on ESPN was like, he's going to have Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry and all these guys that they're putting up on a pedestal to be as a good receiving core. I was like, Tom Brady, one of the quote-unquote best quarterbacks, had this group last year and couldn't do shit with them. So why would a less accurate quarterback be able to do more with them?
But I mean, they went 12-4 last year, correct?
They had a shitty schedule. I am not here.
But Josh, they're going to play 6 of those games again. They're going to play the Tech. They're going to play the Jets. They're going to play the Dolphins and do the Bills. They're going to get 6 of them games again.
The Bills are better. And I mean, the
Bills are better, but could they not go 5-1 in that division? Yes,
They always lose at least one game to the Dolphins for no reason. Always.
I'm just saying, I don't know who they play in the NFC. I don't know what division they play in the NFC. I know it's not Dallas's because Dallas lost to them last year.
It is a tougher schedule for sure.
Do they play the Central? Do they play Green Bay and Minnesota and Chicago?
I'm not 100% sure
what the cross is.
Someone else can look that up. I totally hear what you guys are saying. I think that they could be anywhere from 3rd to 7th. I think at this point, nothing would really would really surprise us at this point. The very interesting stat that I pulled up is so Cam Newton played 2 games last year, and then the year before that he played 14. So that's a 16-game sample size. In those 16 games, he threw for just under 4,000 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 14 picks. He rushed for 486 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. That line is very similar to Kyler Murray's 2019 season, where he passed for 3,700 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 544 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. And people are putting Kyler Murray up on a pedestal this year, thinking that with DeAndre Hopkins and that receiving core and another year in that system, they think that Kyler Murray is going to be a very, very good quarterback. So if this is what Cam Newton can do over this last 16 games that we've seen of him, why the hell couldn't he do it in New England? I have gone a full 180 on this signing within the last 48 hours of being like, well, shit, yeah, this could actually really work out, and it's a team-friendly deal. So, I mean, the Patriots, yeah, this is a great – I'm with Rance. This is a great signing for them. I don't like it in the slightest. And I think it could actually work out. The only caveat to Brian, you were talking about them building a system around like him just throwing off dink and dunks. I do Cam has a pretty solid – he's got a lot of confidence. Some could say ego. So do you think that he might go for those deeper routes just to look a little bit better, or do you think he'll completely buy into that system? Is the question.
I mean, that's impossible to say,
right,
from my position.
But I think he has to buy in. He's towards the end. Like this is it. Like nobody wanted him. Like I read an article, like it was the Patriots and one other team, and this is it. Like he needs to understand that this is. I'm not trying to get fired up, but this is the end of his career type thing. Like if he don't buy in, then he may be done for good.
He's only 31.
31.
Yeah.
And his body is 36.
Yeah,
and
right. Exactly.
Rance mentioned Phil Rivers in Indy, and I think there's your example of we all talked about before how Phil Rivers looked washed last year, and Indy sprinted to the front of the line and said, well, "Here's $25 or $30 million. Come play for us."
Yeah, I know.
And Cam Newton, which everyone wants to think back of his MVP days, nobody wanted to talk to Cam Newton, and I mean, this is the most important position of the sport. And even if you have a young guy that you want to believe in, if you get 1 year of Cam Newton for cheap, I mean, he just fell into the Patriots' lap by, kind of default because they don't have a guy that they really know they can count on. And really, we've seen the path through this before, bring in veterans that are proven elsewhere that nobody really won. They're kind of castaways. And sometimes they concede or succeed. Sometimes they just cast off. Yeah. And the guys, I mean, Antonio Brown, there was ready to ride him into the Super Bowl, and he screwed up immediately, and they said, get the hell out. And we've seen that happen before. And those lucky bastards, they just have them just fall into their laps for no money guaranteed. He can make incentives if he performs well. And those dirty bastards cover up their cheating punishment.
Dirty bastards.
God damn it. I hate them so much.
I love the fact that you brought up Phil Rivers in that in that way, because I've talked to our old buddy Pete Barth, who's a Bears fan, and it seems like Chicago radio has done nothing but absolutely torch the Bears after this signing because of them trading for Nick Foles, who is not making that much relatively. I think he's owed 17.5 guaranteed over the next 3 seasons. Not that much, not that bad. The real problem absolutely should be pointing the fingers at the Colts for paying Phillip Rivers $25 million after the horseshit season that Phillip Rivers had.
And nobody's talked about that. Nobody's talked about that.
Everybody thinks that's going to be a match made in heaven and it's going to work out.
Yeah, do they not realize, he's old as shit too. I mean,
he's played like dog shit.
Yep.
His arm's shot.
He can't have that deep ball anymore.
No. I had an interesting conversation with him, wanting to know, would you rather have with their current salaries or current compensation, would you have the Nick Foles, Cam Newton, or Jameis Winston for that deal that he got in New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
So, I would 100% throw Phillip Rivers in that same group. It was a very if you were a starting quarterback, this market was absolutely terrible for you because it was so flooded with actual competent quarterbacks that you could line up 4 or 5 of them and be like, Teddy Bridgewater is the same in that same boat. You can line up like 5 or 6 of them and be like, you. And if you're just the last team that had a vacancy like the Patriots were, this is what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Right. And to the point of overpaying for Phil Rivers, that's what gives me pause on just buying into the fact that Cam is going to play well. Yeah. I think if there's that many teams that wouldn't even sniff him, I just question what his body looks like right now. We see it on his Instagram stories, and he looks like a shredded monster.
Tip-top shape.
As far as Thurl being a competent quarterback, if there's that many teams that were scared off by him, I don't know. I got to wait and see what he shows us.
You put Cam Newton's workout videos up against like Jameis Winston's. It is hilarious. It is very funny.
Yeah.
So real quick, I got this last little point that I wanted you guys. I set the over/under for games that Cam Newton starts for the Patriots this year at 9.5. What's everybody got? Rance, where are you at?
I know I brought up his injury history, and I know he's been riddled by injuries, but I think this is it for him. I think they protect him. I don't think he gets out and runs like he did. I think he'll be over.
Over. Okay. Brian?
Yeah, I think he'll hit the over too. Let's just hope he avoids a serious injury. Maybe he has to sit out for a week or so, but I think he's going to get the job, and I don't see him playing bad enough to lose it out to Stidham or Hoyer.
Yep.
So I'll say over too.
Kitty?
I'm going to go over as well, and back to the Patriots schedule. They play the NFC West.
Yep. Seattle, San Francisco, Rams, and Cardinals.
I think it was at the Seahawks and at the Rams, maybe.
That's it. Yep, I just looked too.
And you guys talking about Kyler Murray, those guys would be so much fun to watch this year with putting Hopkins in there and a full season of Kenyon Drake in the backfield. That guy can fly.
And the Cardinals got an easier schedule. Like, it's nothing. I was looking at theirs, not to mean to cut you off, but they could start like 6-1 or 5-1.
Yep.
Like, there's nobody out of the gate that scares you.
Kyler's so much fun to watch.
I'd say their head coach scares me the most, Cliff Kingsbury, getting it done in the NFL. That's the biggest obstacle holding them back, probably.
Yeah. There's no one on earth that lives in a house like he does that disappoints at his day job. There is nobody on earth. I'm probably going to go over on that as well on 9.5. You got to think that the Patriots are most definitely going to be in the hunt when it comes down to it. And unless Cam is throwing 3 picks and fumbling once a game, there's no way that he's not going to be the guy down the stretch. So barring some kind of serious injury, I'd say the over is pretty good on 9.5. So I think we did it. I think we cleared the waivers pretty successfully. We spent enough time on both of those 2 topics. We went a little overzealous on that, but you're welcome, listeners and viewers. You're welcome.
That's right.
You're not going to get any kind of coverage like that from not outside this podcast. That's for sure.
No, that's premium shit there.
That's premium shit. We didn't clear the waivers for nothing. So let's get into the shenanigans, the fun time, the happiness time. Getting in this week, we're going to start off with the designated for assignment portion. I'll just give you a quick standings update because I'm very proud of them. Kitty and I are in the lead with 5 wins apiece. 5. We did it. Congratulations, Kitty.
Got that ring for the thumb.
Let's see. We still got some time before we reset the standings here. Rance, you're right behind us with 4.
Mm-hmm.
You're right in the hunt.
Gotta
Brian,
get there.
You are not in the hunt. You have 1.
I'm too generous, Josh.
Your question.
Pretty poor performances on Brian's part.
Maybe next time you have to come up with a question, you'll be a little harder.
You guys won't get one name next time.
Not one name. Yep. Top OPS in the 1956 baseball season.
Exactly.
I'm going Mickey Mantle.
Maybe some rugby.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Like that. So this week, Rance is going to bring us the question with those standings. The order of the guessing is going to be Brian, then Kitty, then myself. So, Rance, what do you got for us this week?
I came up with a baseball question since baseball's going to get back in gear, and we haven't talked about this a whole lot, but since 2002, okay, we're going back a little ways, but I know you guys are going to get several of these answers. This has happened 12 times, guys with 50 home runs in a season. Now, it's happened 12 times, but only 11 guys, so you can do the math. One guy's done it twice since 2002. Okay? Are we all on the same page here?
Yeah.
Yep.
All righty. I'm ready.
Brian's up first.
I'm going to go with Giancarlo Stanton.
How dare you take my pick?
Giancarlo Stanton did it in 2017, and he hit 59 bombs that year.
That's
Just
a lot of
take my
bombs.
pick.
Yep.
Man, so rude.
To Kitty.
I'm going to go with Pete Alonso. I believe he got 50 left.
You took
Yep.
mine.
Pete Alonso last year, 53 bombs. Off to a great start.
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, 2017, 52 bombs. So, I mean, you guys are ripping them right off.
Those are the 3 names I had down.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to think of 3 more then. There's some obvious names out there, boys.
God, don't have a great feeling about it, but I'm going to go with it. How about Nelson Cruz?
Wrote him down.
Nelson Cruz has not achieved that feat.
Wow. It's already had. Well, thanks for taking that pick off my hands. I'm going to go with Baltimore Oriole legend Chris Davis.
Chris Davis hit 53 bombs in 2013 and has never been heard from since.
Let's go with his West Coast counterpart and Chris Davis in Oakland.
No,
Nope.
he's not on that list,
I
but
didn't
great
feel
guess.
great about it. 2 strikes dealt out right now.
So what do we got? BK. Who's got a – Josh obviously got a strike. And
Yeah, I got one.
BK with Nelson Cruz.
How about-
Think back as to some home run hitters back in the early to mid 2000s. Just think.
Yeah, that's the problem. My memory gets real fuzzy about
That's
2000.
right around the big deadline.
Yeah. And I think it was after 2002 when Bonds hit 70. Give me Barry
Mhm.
Bonds.
I have no idea.
Bonds hits his 70-some in 2001.
Oh, shut up.
What
Oh,
about
no
after
way.
that, though? Still didn't do 50?
He didn't
in
do
that?
50 after that?
No.
That's crazy.
No.
That's bullshit.
I'm going to go
I
with
mean, I looked this up. I mean, after this is all said and done, if you guys want to look again, I mean, we could pull a Josh and just, I mean, he never knows for sure. So last week you didn't know for sure, Josh. Don't.
Okay. Timeout. You guys have to come up with literally 30% of the questions that come up on this podcast. The fact that I am not sure on some of them, on the other 70% of the questions, Rance, you shut the hell up. How about that?
Fair enough.
Real asshole.
I'm going to go with another lefty here, Cody Bellinger.
I did not have Cody Bellinger on this
Yeah,
list.
I don't think you got there.
I thought he was close.
Got close.
Kitty, strike one.
Yep.
Come on, Josh. You're the baseball guy. I know you can do this.
I'm going to
Back to the-
say, did Adam Dunn do it?
I don't know if
I
he
did
got
not
that
have
one.
Adam Dunn on this list either.
That's surprising.
He kept getting like the 42 and 41, I think, all the time. With
Probably.
200 strikeouts and 150 walks.
Always in the 40s.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on my final option here, but I'm going to go confidently.
You want a clue?
Nope.
Okay.
There's
I think
too
we're
many
in clue
too many other
territory,
options.
though, right?
How about Jose Bautista?
There
Oh.
you go. Batista bombs. 2010 hit 54.
Joey
Nice.
Bats.
Good job.
You're staying
I
alive.
think I'm thinking this is hopefully
Now
this
the guy that has done it twice, you have not picked yet.
that's impressive.
Yeah. Jay
I'm gonna
Buhner.
Why'd you trade Jay Buhner? I'm going to go with Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton is not on this list.
Dang. Oh. We've all got 2 options used.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, 4 of these guys are lefties. 2 righties, 4 lefties.
Is that my clue?
Yeah, apparently.
Has Kitty got 2 strikes?
We all got 2.
No, I can give you a better clue. This guy played a lot. He played a lot of his career in the AL Central, crushed a lot of bombs against the Royals. God. And he's left-handed.
Oh, I think I just.
Yeah, I think I got it too. But I like my other name more.
Okay, if you don't want to use that clue, the guy that's done it twice. I don't see how you guys can't get that.
The worst part is always just the question guy. Always like, you guys, that one they should get, and then we don't.
Right.
So now I'm at a fork in the road. I can either go who I think that answer is, or who I feel really good about.
God. And it's not. I still can't believe the 3 of us. It's not an obvious who did it twice.
Right.
Yeah.
What years we talking here for that guy?
Okay, I'll give you the years: 07 and 02. Ooh. So a little bit apart, but
so an old man
hit a lot of homers.
I feel better about David Ortiz.
That's a good guess.
And you would be right with David Ortiz. In 06, he hit 54 home runs.
That's who I thought got the double. Okay.
No, he's only done it once, so you still haven't hit the double.
Back to me.
But David Ortiz never played in the AL Central either.
Right. That's.
He did it at the beginning of his career, but he played all of it out there in AL East. So
I took the road I was comfortable with, not the.
So do I need to come up with a new clue for Brian, or?
Mm-hmm. Do you need to or not?
Yes.
He's given us quite a bit there.
He's given us
pretty generous.
3 clues.
Okay, this guy that did it twice played his whole career in the AL, but he played for a few different teams.
Yeah.
3 different teams.
God.
Oh, God damn it. I'm just spoon feeding you answers.
Baby doesn't want his airplanes coming in.
Nope.
Coming in for landing.
Not interested.
The other guy, this other guy.
Oh, we're fine. We're fine. Okay. Just save that for Kitty's clue.
Okay.
Oh, man. I almost want to guess without a clue just to try to save a clue.
Okay. I've just spilled a couple decent clues.
Yeah.
Are there still righties on the board?
2.
There are 2 righties on the board.
3 lefties.
And one of the righties.
How about Man Ram?
No.
That's a good guess, though.
Good guess, Brian.
Brian's been DFA'd.
He's finished.
Okay.
I'm gonna
go with Ryan Howard.
Yes.
Nice pull.
Guy hit 58 bombs in 2006. I think he won MVP that year.
All about him.
Good job, buddy.
So I got 2 names that I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the double doinker in the AL Central, is what you said, right?
No.
Oh.
The guy that I said about the AL Central pretty much played his whole career in AL Central, and he's left-handed.
Jim Thome.
Absolutely.
I had him written down, but I thought he might have been too old.
In 2002, Jim Thome hit 52 home runs, but he played for the White Sox, the Twins, the Indians. So there you go.
I watched an all-star game with him in it over a couple weeks ago.
Hard to believe that guy ever played third base.
Okay.
So you guys are down. We're getting there. We got
2 righties, 1 lefty left.
We got 2 righties, 1 lefty, and we still got that double. The guy that
cannot believe we haven't got the guy.
And that clue was that he played for 3 different teams, and they were all in the AL. He'd never.
A-Rod.
What'd you say?
Alex Rodriguez.
Yep. In 2007, he hit 54 bombs. In 2002, he hit 57 bombs.
Nice.
Very good.
All right, we've got 1 righty, 1 lefty left.
The righty.
And this is the toughest answer. In my opinion. In my opinion.
Damn. I was going to say, I guess. Now that you said it is hard.
Maybe your answer was a little more obscure.
I was originally going to say Edwin Encarnacion, but since you say it's a little bit harder, the other righty I have on my list is Eugenio Suarez. So I'm going to go with Eugenio Suarez.
And I'm going to tell you now.
Sounds about right.
It's probably Ketel Marte.
Now, this guy did this in 2005.
Okay, so we're on the last option, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
the right-handed batter was 2005?
2005, and he really was known for his defense, honestly. I don't know if that helps you.
Shit.
Kind of had a resurrection late in his career.
What about the big cat, Andres Galarraga?
Big time prospect coming out, played a lot as a youngster.
When was oh my gosh. I think that was too early.
And he's a righty.
I'm thinking there's one of each still left.
One of each.
Junior never got to 50, right?
No.
If he did, it may have been before 02.
The lefty I have written down as a possibility, Prince Fielder.
That's not bad.
That's a really good idea. He flashed fast and burned out.
Uh-huh.
I had Yelich written down, but I don't think he ever got to 50 that year.
He hasn't gotten to 50.
He did.
And I think Pujols was probably dead by then.
Marcelo Zuna didn't do it his year. He won the NL MVP.
What did Soler get last year? Was it 47?
48.
48.
Trout hasn't got there.
Trout's never done 50. This is 2005, so the righty's a real long time ago.
Known for his
defense.
You,
the lefty did it in 2007, and I don't know that I can give you any more clues.
That's probably
giving us like 6 or 7 already.
I'm not a team player.
I'm just glad we got to the.
Palmeiro didn't do it in his juice days, right?
Did Paul Konerko do it in 05 maybe?
That's not bad.
Not a bad guess.
I feel like they were kicking the ball out of that White Sox ballpark quite a bit when he was there.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that.
That known for defense, but he hit 50 home runs is really screwing with me.
Yep, I don't like that.
I know.
I don't like that. Ray Ordonez.
Frank Thomas never got to it.
Omar Vizquel.
Nefi Perez.
Alex Gordon didn't, obviously.
I'm gonna throw Konerko in the mix, Rance. That's my official guess.
That's it.
Paul Konerko.
Soriano.
He did 40-40. I don't think we got to 50. I think
Paul Konerko.
Damn.
I'll give you the two guys since we're done, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, that was it.
Prince Fielder hit 50 in 2007.
You were right. Good call, BK.
And then Andrew Jones.
What?
Wow.
He hit 50
in 2005.
Wow.
Outrageous.
That's
he probably batted 220.
I have not looked at what his numbers were that whole season, but he could have. But he hit 50.
Nice call on Prince Fielder, though.
Yep.
Wow.
Andrew Jones should be a Hall of Famer once you kind of look at that. He certainly was known for his defense more so, played as a youngster. Yep, you're right there. You are right there.
He played for the Braves there right when he was
19 years old.
Or 19, I think.
Yeah.
Real youngster.
He hit 263 that year.
Rance and Kitty pulling out the dubs this week.
434 bombs for Andrew Jones in his career. That's pretty
more
good.
than I thought.
Yep.
Let's get to the waiver wire here. Last week we did a draft of our perfect dream meals. We had no controversial picks whatsoever. Everything was pretty above board. Nothing really out of the ordinary. So definitely don't go back and watch that or listen to that. The outcome of the polls that we posted, I actually got one up, so kudos to me. But Rance, I think, took down the poll this week. I think Rance and Brian were co-winners, and Rance had a lower pick. So he gets the win this week. Brian gets second pick.
Bullshit.
Kitty.
I get 0 votes.
Nope. You actually beat me.
Oh.
I think
You're telling me pig fat? Pure pig fat did not win. You got to be shitting me.
We need more people just eating pig fat, I think, is what we deduced from this poll. More sink pissers.
They're
need
not
to be
ready.
picking off some trimmings.
They're not ready for it, Josh.
They don't know what the beauty that you've tasted.
They're not ready for the lobster risotto and pig fat, man.
If I had to guess, like, something that I've done that nobody else has really done, it'd probably be eating pig fat.
Well, an abundance of it. An abundance of it.
Yes.
13 pounds.
Like, I've maybe tried it, but you're talking about a platter full of pig.
Well, I mean, I haven't eaten a whole platter of it. I just know I could, and I would really enjoy it. So this week we are drafting the elements of the perfect 4th of July celebration. We got the 4th of July coming up this Saturday. Happy 4th of July to all the sink pissers out there. Hope you enjoy the time with your family, and we really appreciate it as a holiday, I guess. I don't know where I was headed with all that. But we're going to draft our favorite elements of the perfect 4th of July. So, Rance, you're going to lead us off here. Go ahead with your first pick overall.
My first pick overall is, I mean, I don't think you can have a 4th of July celebration without a good barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, burgers, brats. Brian loves ribs. I think ribs is a great 4th of July food.
Even if you just go burgers and dogs, you're in good shape.
Burgers and dogs. You can't go wrong with burgers and dogs or burgers and brats. So, I mean, that's how it gets started right there. It's a good old barbecue. So,
I agree.
Barbecued food.
No qualms with that. Brian.
What goes great with barbecue food? Booze.
Beer.
Pretty much knew those two picks were coming first off the board.
Yep.
Josh, there's a word for people that say that you can have a good time without drinking alcohol, and those people are liars.
No, you cannot.
You got to have some cold beer to go with your barbecue to add to the ambiance of the good 4th of July celebration.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 and 3 off my list.
Yep. Well, that means you still got number 1. Kitty, what's your first pick?
It's a little of a sour note this year, but I like to have a little MLB on the TV all day.
Yep.
I had that on my list.
Yep.
Just love watching baseball all day on 4th of July because that's a day that a lot of times they'll start games at 11 a.m. and running to midnight. It's just like 12 hours of baseball on TV watching it. And with baseball, especially on 4th of July when you're outside doing grilling or drinking beers, you don't have to pay strict attention to it. You kind of peek back and forth as the day goes by and kind of check on the games.
Yep.
It's a good one. I like it.
I am running out of picks.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Exactly. There's going to be a shallow 3rd and 4th round.
I did get my first overall pick as well, which is some form of water, whether that's a lake or a river, or a shitty outdoor white trash kiddie pool. I think that's necessary for a good 4th of July.
And I'm going to say it's necessary for you to pick a certain one.
Oh.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I think I could see that. Be a little more specific.
Move. That's a dick move.
Why? You get the first pick of the water.
You got booze.
He said beer, though. He narrowed it down just to beer.
Did he?
You want to take liquor?
That's all day.
Well, I have a different form of booze on my list.
Well, what is it?
Me too.
Summer beer.
Take that then.
What if I had that?
So give me beer. If
you're gonna make me choose one of those, I mean, the 4th of July at the lake, I've never had it, but I think that's got to be the place to be. I love the lake in any day, but 4th of July is probably also very good. So I'm gonna say the lake.
I like it.
All right, that works.
Good job.
I guess my second pick on my draft board is a nice summer beer.
Okay, I'll mark that off my list. God
Yep.
damn it.
Give me that lemonade, vodka, and little summer shandy. Or
Oh, you're
that-
going
that is
summer
so
beer,
good.
summer
Yeah.
brew, whatever
Summer
it's called.
brew.
summer brew. Yep.
Hell yeah.
I think that's a way different.
Josh, real quick, I've been making the last 2 batches of my summer brew. I've been using Natter Days, and it's not. I'm telling you, there's something different.
See,
Nice.
those Natter Days only come in like 30 packs now, right?
No,
Something
you
like
can get
that.
a 6-pack of Tall Boys.
You can.
At least
okay.
down here you can get a
Okay.
6-pack of those Tall Boy Natter Days with some limeade and some lemonade.
Yeah.
It's different.
Do you
And I
put
think
put vodka in them, right?
Yeah, vodka,
Just regular
Natter
vodka.
Days, limeade mix, lemonade mix.
I like that. That's a
There you
solid mix. I'm gonna look into that for sure. Got a little strawberry, lime, lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little heartburn. Might need to
Yeah,
put
you
Tums
can't have
on my
more than a
list.
couple glasses, but those 2 glasses are good.
Pretty good. Very refreshing. Very nice. Kitty.
I'm gonna take some good old fashioned yard games, little bags, little washers.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Got those out there, just
Good
hanging
one.
out, having a good time while you've got either your summer beer or your Miller Lite in your hand, playing some yard games. Feel like you can't go wrong there.
With
I like that one.
we're still kind of in lockdown mode in our house. I'm just
Right. So
I got a new bag set for Father's
Oh,
Day.
you got
Might need to
practice
go
all ahead of
make,
you.
I got a grill. I mean, I'm gonna have to grill out with my kiddie pool, bag set, summer brew. It's gonna be a hell of a 4th of July, boys.
You're gonna have a good day.
It's gonna be good. Real
Yeah,
good.
All
4th
right,
of
you're ready to
July.
go.
Yeah.
We're not even halfway through the draft yet.
Nope. Brian, what do you got?
Okay, so the reason I told you, because I had 2A, 2B, depending on what was left,
Mm-hmm.
because I think 4th of July outside is usually just miserable unless you're in some water. You need some relief. So if you can go to some place with a pool and you have the grill going on, you have the baseball game going on outside, a pool would make for a perfect 4th of July day.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That might be better than the lake, actually, because
Actually,
you're
Depends. It's close.
you're probably not being able to smell the grill in the water with the baseball game on at a lake.
That's a fair point.
I
think-
think bring a nice little antenna with you out on the lake. You might have try to get some little extra. Get that buy your unlimited data for a little while, so you can get the iPad out on the boat.
Yeah.
Yep. That would be sweet. Very good.
Rance back-to-back picks now.
Okay. My number 2 pick, because some of my other ones have been chosen already, but I think after you enjoy the barbecue and like Kitty was saying, the yard games and the summer brew, it's a nice way to top it off. Like we're going to be at the lake, we're going to hop on the boat of an evening, and we're going to go enjoy a nice fireworks display. Something over the lake. So, I mean,
I wasn't sure if that story was going to lead to fireworks or not.
But it's fucking 4th of July. You guys aren't going to enjoy any fireworks?
I was waiting for someone to pick fireworks just so I can jump on. I don't care who it was.
You
I was
gotta be
gonna
shitting
jump on.
me, fellas.
Fireworks are the most overrated thing of all time.
Oh my God.
Outside of the Beatles, I didn't include the fireworks into my overrated things draft.
You're
but
telling
it
me you
certainly
don't
belonged
like
there.
fireworks at all? Like
I
at
feel like if
of
you've
a
seen
night?
one, you've seen them all.
I think that's inaccurate.
I was
they've done
praying we
some-
went the whole draft without saying fireworks on 4th of July.
That would have been funny. Just like
Whatever.
4th of July,
You
4th of July
two
draft
are
with no
so
fireworks.
smug.
We are not
Just give me a break.
we're not a
You want to
fireworks
enjoy the 4th of
podcast.
July and you don't want to have fireworks. I've never even heard of such a thing.
I legitimately have not
Rance is
seen
about
a
to take his
4th of July
headphones off and
fireworks
leave.
in person in like a decade.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean,
right.
whatever, man. I mean, you want to eat pig fat. I mean, whatever you say from here on out, I mean, I'm not going to respect. I mean,
Got a big asterisk next to it anyways.
Well, the thing with fireworks are to go to a decent display, you've got to go amongst a crowd of annoying people that may be a pain in the ass to get in and out. And if you do it,
not
if you do it
can
at
see
some
'em from where you're at.
if you do it at somebody's house at the party, they buy way too many of those things. Just go boom. They're just loud. They don't look good. Fireworks, get them out.
Okay, shitty pick. My apologies.
Amen. How dare you?
That
How
was a
dare you
fucking-
bring
that was-
fireworks to a 4th of July draft?
What kind of moron would even pick fireworks on
It's
the 4th of
just
July? What
Such a
dumbass.
such a terrible thought of you.
Total dipshit.
Yes. I never heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
Good thing I
Rance?
wasted a pick there. Well, I'm scared to death to even say my third.
You might as well skip it. All right, on to Brian. What do you want to try, Rick?
I was just, I mean, we can move on very quickly, but my third pick was going to be just good weather. Because a lot of people want to be outside on the 4th of July. You're talking about being in the water. I'm talking about, Kitty's talking about yard games. I'm talking about enjoying fireworks, which is
how dare you?
Shitty, awful pick.
Idiotic.
If you want to do anything outdoors on the 4th of July, you want to have some good weather. So
you need that weather to see the fireworks. So.
Well, nobody else is watching. Nobody else is watching.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
you got a great
Only
spot up
morons are watching fireworks. Only the biggest dipshits are watching fireworks.
I mean, some of the most enjoyable 4th of Julys of my life have been like, I'll take mid-80s.
Yeah.
If it's lower than mid-80s with like maybe some clouds, hell yeah. Just don't give me 103-degree heat index, and I'll be happy. I'll be a happy camper.
I mean, that's a great value that late because we're talking about painting a perfect scenario of 4th of July. And weather can ruin one in a heartbeat.
Good point.
Yep.
Great pick, Rance.
I'm glad you guys agree with that pick.
You had a really shitty pick backed up with a really
it's summer in Kansas City. Of course it's going to be good weather, Rance. What are you thinking? Jesus, get out of here.
Yeah. San Diego.
It's never, ever been we've never been disappointed by. I think I just looked up it's a high of 90 on Saturday.
Okay.
So
we'll see. Not terrible.
We'll see how that goes. It's not good, but that's pretty typical. So Brian, back to you.
This may be a little too personal and maybe just to us, but 4th of July I always attribute to, because we have the parade, right? But what I really look forward to is after the parade, we go home and we have homemade ice cream.
Yeah.
Homemade ice cream on 4th of July go together.
Someone's trying to win his mom's vote again.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, what's wrong with homemade ice cream?
I'm just going to do that no matter what you picked.
That gives me the shits more than any kind of ice cream is homemade ice cream.
Know Josh can't have that.
Yeah.
That's why he picked it.
Son of a bitch.
Brian gets 2 servings.
That in my face. It's your fault that I am lactose intolerant to ice cream now.
Mm-hmm. Sure it is.
But yeah, I was still tempted to put it on my list even though I couldn't have it because it's such a staple. For sure. I don't necessarily think that that's a personal pick either. I don't
know that many other people do it.
Really?
I don't know a whole lot of people that just have ice cream for 4th of July. I mean, probably have popsicles or something, but not like an ice cream specific to a homemade ice cream type of thing.
Says the guy who had chocolate ice cream and chocolate syrup last week.
Well, that's a weekly staple.
With raspberries.
That's right. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Don't forget about the raspberries.
Don't forget about the raspberries.
They're good. I really add something to it.
And I need to do that.
I didn't notice on the first go through that you said chocolate ice cream and chocolate syrup.
Oh yeah,
that's
double up on that.
I in my head I had vanilla ice cream and I was like, that's pretty basic, bitch. But chocolate ice cream is not so much basic.
Doubling down.
Yep.
Right.
I appreciate that move, and then the raspberries. I can totally understand where you're coming from on that.
Total power move.
Yep. We are too kitty for your third pick.
This is very personal. I want the good weather that Rance has asked for so I can go golfing in the AM.
Ooh.
Because it's different from a regular day.
Exactly. Early. Especially when it's a weekday. It's a nice little treat to go hit those links in the AM and then come home for hopefully someone else has been able to barbecue for me. So I don't fall over and hit the grill like I'm the dad in Varsity Blues.
Just immediately come home and eat after you've played 18 holes.
Oh, exactly.
18 playing holes. Some cornhole and not help at all.
Yep.
Well, Katie missed the board all 4 shots again.
I like that. Your 4th of July is shaping up pretty well.
Not too shabby.
Not a bad Wednesday if it ever falls on that again.
Exactly.
Yep. I'm going to go with my third pick. To start the day off, I feel like most priorities are that you probably hit it pretty hard on July 3rd. So some Excedrin migraine is probably a good way to start off the 4th of July.
Jesus.
You can't, I mean, a 4th of July weekend, the 4th of July holiday is probably kicked off with a solid July 3rd night. So if you're feeling a little bit brutal on a 4th of July morning, you're not going to enjoy the rest of the morning without a little Excedrin migraine in your system.
Just go hair of the dog, man.
I've done that. I don't think that I've never experienced that as like I've never drank a beer when I was hungover and felt better afterwards. Never.
That's too bad for you.
Yeah.
You ever had a Bloody Mary and felt better afterwards?
No. I can consciously and confidently say that no, I did not.
You do need those Excedrin then.
You.
Yep.
Yeah.
My final pick. I would like to go. I'll talk about this if we get to the honorable mentions. But this 4th of July, you guys are going to give me shit about this. I don't care because I'm so excited about this. Hamilton the Musical is coming to Disney Plus July 3rd with the original Broadway cast, and I am fucking pumped on it. I am pumped about it. It's such a good musical.
Oh my God.
I watched it in when it came into Kansas City last summer, and I was pumped to see the original cast.
Gosh, you don't mean Disney what Plus. You're saying.
Give me a Hamilton the Musical on July 4th.
We all missed some rules, or we all had to take one musical pick in these four.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but we are actually being sponsored by Disney now, so I had to throw this in there.
Willy Wonka, can I take that then? Is that a Disney movie?
No.
What a wild pick.
If you heathens haven't listened or watched Hamilton, fucking do it, because you guys are.
I saw the commercials for it. Those raps sounded terrible.
Because it's out of context. Shut up. You have no idea.
Terrible.
You have no idea. No idea. Hamilton is amazing.
Okay.
We'll take your word for it.
Shut up, kitty.
Everyone's leaving your house when that comes on.
That's fine. I also had air conditioning on my list, so I'll be watching Hamilton in the air conditioning. I don't need his stupid perfect weather pick.
Your 4th of July blows.
All right, fireworks, kid.
You're gonna be on the lake. You can't even watch it.
I can look at the lake while I'm inside.
Well, while you guys are all hanging out by yourselves with your family, I'm bringing some good friends with me to this 4th of July party.
Yeah.
Got to have good friends. Got to have the good crew around you. Enjoy
Can't play lawn games by yourself.
That's right.
No, that's going to be I'll win, but I'll also lose if I'm playing more games by myself.
Yep. It's a real 500 winning percentage.
30-30. Got that over 23.5 there. There we go. Let's do it.
Yep. Nailed it. Kitty takes some good friends.
Yep.
Going for pandering to some of your audience there. Brian.
I don't think any of my friends listen. Maybe some.
They all hate you anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
I was really hoping.
Look at the vote so far. Jesus, I get 0 every week.
I was really hoping Kitty was going to go the opposite direction and say staying inside and away from people.
That's what you want to do. That's what you said it earlier tonight. That's what you're trying to go for.
Avoiding people as a perfect 4th of July.
Well, 4th of July in 2020 for sure.
That does sound more like me.
Hope my perfect 4th of July doesn't involve COVID-19.
Yep. All right,
Brian, so
if I'm painting my picture of my perfect 4th of July, I'm at the pool. I've got my beer, got friends around. You need the music.
Kitty,
you got to have
friends.
the tunes playing.
Damn it.
And you got to have the right DJ that's keeping everybody entertained. And then progressively, as the day goes on and people get drunker, that volume starts going up, up, up. And then you eventually start getting some hip thrusts out there.
Yeah.
Let's go, baby.
Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
That's exactly what Brian's talking about.
Yeah. That might be like when everybody's walking into the party.
That's the tone. That's the 1 a.m. Nobody is listening anymore because they're too drunk.
But I do recall like trying to look up on Spotify like 4th of July playlists, and that kind of shit is all over the all over the place on there.
Oh yeah.
Or is it Proud to Be an American?
Oh yeah,
Lee Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood.
I couldn't think of the first name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's because by the time it's time to turn up, everybody's changing to rap caviar.
There you go. Or
Rance.
maybe some 90s.
That's a good one too. Rance.
Most of my picks have been chosen, so out of my whole list, I have one thing remaining, so I've got to go with it because I got nothing else. And over the last few years, this kicks off at 11 o'clock, and it is the Coney Island
No, there you go.
dog eating contest with those slobs. They introduce them, they come out to entrance music, and they're just fucking shoveling, and then they're guzzling, and then they're shoveling, and they're guzzling. And they're just ripping through the dogs at Coney Island.
It's crazy.
So it starts at 11 before your barbecue can start, and you're in the water and you're listening to tunes. Check it out. It's going to happen again this year, but they're going to be indoors. They're going to cut down on the crowd. But those nasty bastards are still going to be cramming dogs. So check it out, boys.
I do enjoy putting it on and then waiting to see how long it is for someone to comment how disgusting this is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
Chestnut is just he's a shell, but
It's
he's still
amazing that they
cramming them.
choose to put it at like 11 a.m. where people are like starting to have lunch.
Yeah.
You see them cramming those buns into the water and then shoving in their stupid
That's
faces.
the main thing is the buns and the
The buns
dogs in the
are
water,
so
then
bad.
cram, then drink the water, then cram, and it just
Yeah.
it's unreal. So there's my fourth pick. The
Oh,
Coney
just
anybody
remember
could watch
Island
that and
hot
be
dog
like,
eating
You know what sounds
contest.
good?
Remember
right
back
now?
in the day when Kobayashi changed the game too.
Kobayashi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was
But
like
then
the record
Chestnut
was
started blowing him out of the
Yeah.
water.
Yep.
yeah, the record was so low, and then Kobayashi came out, it put up like double the number on the world record, and it was just
And then
But
Kobayashi
Chestnut's
went
putting
nuts.
up like 60
Yeah, he lost his mind a little bit.
So there you go, guys.
I want to see a ESPN 30 for 30 about the behind the curtain of a competitive eater, like especially
Oh,
around
God.
that turning
No.
point where Kobayashi had a strategy that changed the game, and then eventually people started figuring because there's some like underhanded deals being made for sure.
I remember there was like a real life or something where they followed around competitive eaters
Yep.
leading up to it, and they're like they'll just sit down like the week leading up to it and eat bags of lettuce.
Yep.
Lettuce
Huge
just
meals,
expands your
yeah.
stomach.
Stretches your stomach.
But before it starts, though, fellas, they talk about these guys and what they've ate and what other competition, like so-and-so ate 100 deviled eggs, or I mean, just bizarre shit. They
Yep.
85 pickle spears. I mean, it's
Hot
just,
wings.
Yeah, just
It seems like hot
blows
wings is like the next tier down after hot dogs. There's like hot wings seems to be the next new frontier.
Yep.
So
It's a
there
big
you
one.
go.
Interesting. That is Rance got definitely the staples of the 4th of July. I don't know if
Fireworks.
he got the best 4th of July because he doesn't have Hamilton, obviously. But
Unbelievable.
I mean,
You have Excedrin and Hamilton. If you win this draft, we're calling shenanigans.
We don't need to do this again.
well, I won't. I'm going to tell you that right now that I will not win this poll. But it was from the heart, so I'm tired of hearing people telling me I'm pandering to the audience. I went with my heart these last 2 drafts, and it's really put me out on a limb. And I don't appreciate the criticism that I've received.
Now you know how I feel for the first 10 weeks of these drafts.
You know, Kitty, you're just naturally bad at this.
1-1.
Let's get to the waiver watch at the end of the week. Kitty, I know you got a waiver watch that we've all kind of talked about, so why don't you roll us off and start us off here?
So it was brought to our attention by the one of the hosts from the Before Times. Summer mentioned that there was a movie called Grand Isle on the free streaming platform Crackle.
Crackle. Have we done like 2 different Crackle movies? I feel like this is the second
Crackle's
Crackle.
been mentioned. Yeah, it's getting mentioned a lot now.
Yeah.
Thanks to me and my finding of a free streaming service.
Right.
And so this is a movie. Let's see, it opens up with Kelsey Grammer interviewing a murder suspect, and then he's telling the story, and it flashes back to his story of what exactly transpired over the last basically 24 or 36 hours. And it has a Nic Cage that looks haggard at best, and the acting is
impeccable.
Yeah, it's a word you could use for it.
Certainly.
I mean, it is. I mean, they're trying these New Orleans accents, and they're just not
it's
getting
a New
them.
Orleans accent. Too.
I think it's New Orleans. It might just be generic Gulf Shores accent, possibly too. But I thought New Orleans was mentioned. It is just, they're bad.
Okay.
Accents need some work, and Nic Cage accent. I mean, obviously, your first movie you think of when you hear that is Con Air. So I put this in a very similar. It's just like what would have happened to the guy on that Con Air flight if his wife had left him and he had to remarry.
He'd be a murder suspect.
He's really falling apart. He's gotten a little disheveled. Put the bunny down. Yeah, I mean, it's the acting level is very similar to the Con Air. So it's a recommend for me. It's a fun watch. You got commercials during it because it's the free streaming, but you can put up with the commercials for this ridiculous movie.
Okay. Deal. Rance, where are you at?
I'm going to go with something a little bit more serious than what.
Whoa, come on now.
Well, me and my wife, we don't watch a lot of things together, but she had a documentary in mind, and I said, well, I'll be interested in watching that. And it's called Athlete A.
Oh,
on
boy.
Netflix.
Oh, no.
And I'm not going to get into specifics. It's just about USA Gymnastics and how they tried to cover stuff up.
Okay.
And Larry Nassar and how disgusting an individual he was and what they let him get away with and swept under the rug, and then you can just take it from there.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good documentary because it kind of lets the common person know
what happened,
what all was involved, and what happened, and the lengths that they went to try to cover that up. But that's what we watched, and I mean, it was very eye-opening, like Kitty just said. I mean, I couldn't believe what he was allowed to get away with, and then when they reported him, that the president of the USA Gymnastics just swept it under the rug, and they went from there, and crazy stuff, man. So,
interesting. A week after the Jeffrey Epstein documentary was brought up on this podcast, we decided to bring it up a notch and go with Athlete A.
COVID's really doing a number on us.
Just real some lighthearted stuff here on the Clearing Waivers podcast.
That's why you watch Grand Isle as a good palate cleanser.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna bring up the mood a little bit. I watched Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga.
I keep hearing about this. All I see is commercials all the time for this.
It's the new Will Ferrell movie for Netflix. It is. It's about this Icelandic couple that gets into it's Eurovision Song Contest is basically like American Idol type of thing in Europe. It was recommended by a good friend of mine, said it was on the level of Step Brothers. So I was like, okay. Yeah, I mean, I watched the trailer of it. I was like, this looks awful. I mean, Will Ferrell's had a few misses here lately, so I'm not going to watch this. And then my good buddy said that it was on the level of Step Brothers, and I trust him and his opinion, so I gave it a shot. It was quite a roller coaster because it came in and then it had a really good joke, and then it would be awful and really bad for like 15 minutes and have a really good joke to kind of bring me in. So like 45 minutes in, I was like, I'm not up for this. It's awful. It's exactly what I thought it was. And then it kind of pulled me back in and kept me going for the next hour and 15 minutes. It's 2 hours long, but I would say it is very, very good. I wouldn't put it on Step Brothers pedestal, but it is definitely worth a watch. So I would recommend checking out Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga.
Nice.
It's Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams.
I've just seen a lot of critics or some comedy people on Twitter that I follow. They're all talking about how funny that movie is.
Yeah.
So getting a lot of good buzz.
It seems like the perfect movie to have a bunch of cameos in. And maybe they did, and I just don't know the European music scene that well. Because it seems like every time you come up, he's like, well, I expect this scene to have a cameo in it. And then someone would get introduced, and you're like, that's probably a perfect opportunity for a cameo. And it probably is some kind of like unknown European music scene type of individual. But it is really, really good. It has really, really funny parts. Really, the only people that I know are Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, Pierce Brosnan is in it. It has some guy that was in Fleabag. I don't know if anybody watched Fleabag. It also recommended for Fleabag if you haven't watched it. But, not that many big names in it. So I would still definitely recommend it, even though it doesn't have a lot of cameos and it's not necessarily on the Step Bros pedestal. But still pretty solid. So check out that. Brian, bring us home for the waiver watch.
At the beginning of Rance's description, I thought he was going to steal mine, but it is also a doc on Netflix, and it's called Lenox Hill. It's a little bit of different than their typical documentary because they just followed around 4 doctors at this famous hospital in New York City, just showing you kind of their inside the hospital and their everyday life and the work-life balance. So you follow one doctor that works in an emergency room, one doctor delivers babies, and 2 of the doctors are neurosurgeons. So you see some shit too. So be prepared for that. If you've got a weak stomach, you're going to see some brain surgeries if you watch that. But I mean, we always get into if you're into like the Grey's Anatomies and the Good Doctor and stuff like that, you're going to enjoy this because, I mean, it's hospital life. So if you're not familiar with it and you watch those kind of shows, I think you're going to enjoy watching this because it's real life and you're following real people. And they make it clear from the beginning that the families and stuff, the cases they show, those people signed off on sharing their stories, and they don't always end well. So there's a lot of ups and downs, but it was very interesting. We knocked it out in a weekend, and actually filmed it last year because it was like they had a Halloween and kind of had Christmas decorations, so you could tell it was last year. But then they tacked on a special pandemic episode on Netflix. So they tacked on like an episode 9 that's like 35 minutes long, basically showing it was right at the beginning of COVID, so no one really knew, and you can see them all gather around TVs trying to listen to the briefings and what they need to be doing and what the numbers were. And it is kind of interesting to go back and relive the beginning of this damn thing where nobody knew what the hell was going on and what we needed to do. And so everyone's just, glued to the TV on what we need to avoid, what approach everybody needs to take. Because it was funny just to even watch them as doctors, just look at each other lost like all of us were.
Yeah.
What the hell are we supposed to do? So it's very interesting. Lenox Hill, check it out.
That's what I thought Lenox Hill showed up on my social media timeline as like a COVID thing. So that must have been what you guys were talking about.
Yep.
I'd be very interested. I feel like I lived that with my wife working at a hospital, but I would still be definitely interested. What was that?
There's a fucking stray cat on my table out here outside of my office. And he's looking right at me right now as I'm talking.
Sweet Jesus.
Sorry.
Is your house haunted?
I don't know what he's doing. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to turn Zeke loose on him.
Is that a good idea? How big Zeke?
Zeke is a big boy.
He's about 85 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think you should be all right.
That cat will probably whip his ass.
Right. Yeah. Maybe the kitty's got claws out there. Be careful.
That reminds me of a bonus waiver watch. If you guys are on Instagram, go find Jay Cutler. He's having a battle right now with something that's killing his chickens on his farm, and he's doing Instagram stories daily of his plight to kill or trap whatever it is killing his chickens, and it's hilarious.
What's he say? What's he think it is? Because man, he seems so dejected. That one you sent out, he goes,
"Oh yeah."
Oh.
Just a heavy sigh at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of things that it could be, but I don't think he really has any idea because he can't catch it on the game cams either.
The old goat sucker himself, Chupacabra.
Is he still living? Is he still living down there in Tennessee, where they were living before all that happened?
Yeah, I think they're like 45 minutes out of Nashville.
Gotcha.
But probably a coyote or a raccoon.
Fox. Yeah, someone said raccoons kill them for fun, basically. Yeah. Tear their heads off.
Raccoons are, God, they're deadly.
Trash pandas.
I wouldn't have guessed that raccoons can get their hands on a chicken. But
guess so.
Sneaky athletic.
That's true. That's
the white quarterbacks of the animal kingdom.
They're Joe Burrow types.
Yep. The real Joe Burrows of the animal kingdom. So yeah, on that note, we'll go ahead and put a exclamation point on the end of this episode. I do want to appreciate or acknowledge everybody joining us this week. I want to encourage everybody to join us on social media. Most of the Twitter and the Instagrams and the Facebook we're at Clearing Waivers. We have a fun Facebook group that we'd like to interact with you guys. That's where you'll find the polls in the Facebook group and on Twitter. You'll be able to interact with us on there. I do want to encourage everybody, if you're not watching us on YouTube, we do have the social media live premiere events. So you're probably watching us on Wednesday evenings, usually between 7 and 7:30. We'll probably hop into the comments and we'll probably watch along with you. Our stupid analysis, our stupid 4th of July picks, such as fireworks. We'll probably roast some more. We always enjoy interacting with you on that when we do that. So if you're not listening to us on the audio portion of the podcast, we do love interacting with us in the viewing portion of those on social media. So keep an eye on that. Review, rate us 5 stars or whatever you think we deserve on any of those fun platforms. Yeah, probably 5 stars. I mean, really, if we're talking about it, it's absolutely 5 stars. So join the movement, the Clearing Waivers movement. Become a Sink Pisser. Give us 5 stars on all your platforms that you can. I do want to appreciate and thank the Hollow-Ins for providing the intro and outro music to this podcast. Go ahead and check out their stuff on Spotify and iTunes and everywhere you find your Apple or everywhere you find your music. I do want to encourage you again to jump in with us on this DFS event, the DraftKings event that we're going with the golf event this weekend. It is a lot of fun. I do vouch for it. Even if you don't know golf, it's a lot of fun to kind of get your blood moving for the impending fantasy and just gambling implication season coming up. So join us on that. You can find us all on our social media feeds. Get all the details there. Outside of that, I do want to thank you again for joining us on behalf of Kitty and Brian and Rance. I do appreciate you again. But we will see you next week. Ta-ta for now.
Don't go, oh, somebody walking away. Hold your body close to the flames. Don't go. A page is burning, we'll all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. My page is burning, we'll all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Close to the flame.